Hello again and welcome to Steve's Longstreet Workshop, where sets come to be looked at for various reasons. And today I thought we'd have a look at this. This is not worth anything. It's a radio. It's an Alba 775, and I don't know what weather condition it's in, like you don't. But with sets like this, I thought I will show you what to do if a set comes in and you've not got a circuit diagram for it or anything. There probably is a circuit diagram for it somewhere, but I'm going to try and get this one working without. So yeah. Now this particular set is filthy. That's no problem. It'll clean. No problem there. The aerial top is gone, but again, I can find plenty of new aerial or a new top for it, perhaps. So again, there's no problem there. None at all. Switches, first of all, do they feel okay? Yes, they do. Tuning string, by the way, is a tuning string on a set like this, by the way. What you do, if the tuning string is gone, which is rare but does happen with sets of this era, yeah. If the string is still in there, try and work out from that where it goes. Basically, all you're doing is setting the tuning string. So the tuning knob operates the dial, the capacitor in the same direction. So you might need to do some degree poker there, but that comes with time. As an all radio repair does, it comes with time. Even this, you know. Like I said, on the back, wave chain switch, which is stiff, but again, we can deal with that. And yeah, so this set, it might work, it might not. Now, transistor sets of this era and older, one thing which you have to look out for with batteries is putting in the right way around. Everybody's done it. Everybody, I mean, people I know have done it. But thing to remember is, first of all, try not to. And secondly, if you do, then oh dear, basically. But it's not the end of the world. Things can fail, but things can be replaced. And but this is probably going to be a radio with silicon transistors in. The silicon transistors are a lot easier these days to work on than germanium. Germanium transistors is positive for the batteries to deck and negative, rather than positive and deck is negative. Again, if that happens, of course, then you simply put the meter the other way around and you should be alright. There's no problem there. So basically, what you do at this stage now is you get your screwdriver that fits the sockets, and then look underneath and find there's no screws in it. Brilliant. And so it should come off relatively easily. The other thing that might stop this actually is dirt. So, oh well, there we are, fine. So, also, when a set like this comes apart, look to make sure that it's not going to pull the set apart as well. It's not doing this case, so there you are. So, yeah. So there you are. It's the set inside looks fairly clean. As you can see, that looks fairly clean. Also, things to look out for also, the DC 6-volt socket, that tells that it takes 6-volt batteries, which look like they're the smaller round ones. I don't know what they're called. They used to go SP and HP10s in my day. Extra trainer speaker socket and extra amplifier, extra antenna socket. Now, these sockets can give trouble. The DC socket, if you're going at a DC there at 6 volts, rather than the batteries, it will sometimes fail, and it will work either on batteries or on the mains wall rod, on the other way around. Also, check the batteries first and check that the wall rod is the right way around before you put it in. That's something else. External sockets, speaker sockets, they push out the internal speaker and go to one of those little earphones that everybody had back in the day. again, they can go short circuit and short circuit, and it's kept in the speaker, so the radio's working away but not getting anywhere. That's something else. Also, look at the circuit diagram if you got it. If not, well, like this, not well. Two transistors here that are in between heat sinks, they'll be output transistors. So we know straight away this set is push-pull output. Yeah, there's no transformer there, so it's transformerless. Okay, that's one thing. Capacitors, yeah. Capacitor we check, of course. IF is probably under there and there. Yeah, fair enough. Yeah. Don't do anything with it that you have to, of course. And the VHF and AM are here. Also with these sets, quite often the VHF and AM, or FM and AM, tend to be stacked. That is, there will be two on each transistor in here. One is for VHF, one is for AM, medium wave. And so check them both, especially if there's nothing going into the transistor. Yeah. So with all those things looked up and checked and sprayed, I'll give that a quick go. All things to look for, by the way, is on the antenna coils here, on the top here. That's these here. If you, I'll put that a bit so you can see. There you are. The thin wires here which go into circuit here, they can fail. If they do, you can usually tell where they went in the circuit. But do be careful with that as well. Again, that's for AM only. FM is the aerial, which is here. And while I'm here with that, what I might do is see if I can pull up the internal aerial, so we can check it on FM as well. So get a screwdriver or something and do that. And look at there, it comes up. Have a look what's there of it as well. This doesn't look too bad actually. So this one might require just a knob, a ferrule, and leave it there, which we can do. So a tip, by the way, those things they get on office notice boards, those little pins, they can be quite good as a ferrule with a bit of solder. With a set like this, anything that you can do like that, it's worth doing. It saves money and it keeps the set working as well, which is good for the environment, which is something which everyone talks about these days, myself included. So that's up. The two knobs missing here, again, any two of the same type will do. Sometimes actually tops off tubes of toothpaste can do if you get two the same. That's okay. Any two, it doesn't really matter there. That's something else for the future. Okay. So at this point now, I shall look and I shall see what I've got valve wise. Check, by the way, that these are clean as well, by the way, because one thing that does happen with sets in this area quite often is they're left with batteries in, and batteries can leak, so look out for that. I did a job a while ago, a bush sandpiper with that problem, so look at that and find out. But usually boiling hot water, basically a drastic action is needed there, but these don't look too bad, so we might be okay here. Well, we probably are. So I'll go and get some batteries. I'll come back to you in a moment. Right, batteries in, and pot needs a clean, but that's radio 3, by the way. Check at this point, by the way, on all bands where the stations are, where they should be on the dial. Radio 2, radio 3.
Home to a total stranger. something that requires a lot of trust. And while these services are entirely digital,
What woman is aiming to make a difference and raise money for the Savoy Cinema.
Classic FM. Sound control works okay. So FM, it's got so far a clean buzz. The AFC is good as well, by the way. Got straight from the station. So that's in mind. We go next setting, which is one wave. Isn't doing very much. A medium wave. Yeah, that's interesting. Right, we'll compare that with yeah, so that's my test station, of course, gold station, which is not much on the dial, but going further down, I don't know what that is. I think that actually might be the well, I'll do, as I get into the radio, and I'll find that as well on here.
Terrific game of football, a little bit one-sided.
They want to provide. John Leslie has been found not guilty of sexually assaulting a woman.
Can't find that one.
London 12 years ago. Mr. Leslie has just to say, we told you that Matt Hancock will be speaking at about 4:30. We have got one eye in common, so sorry, it's still Michael Rose. Talking about and there's no sign of in the meantime,
Also the waste.
Well, this I think it looks okay. So that's nowhere near where it should be. Ah. Right, okay. So it looks like the medium wave, the IF is probably okay, well I'll check it. and the RF side of it is well out. So that is going to be our first port of call. Okay, that's the first port of call. The AM IF is probably okay, but the AM RF circuits aren't. Again, with any radio of this kind, it's pair. Every radio is the same. It's always going to be pair. Also, I noticed, by the way, that going further down, things with radio 5 are not there at all. Right, at this point therefore now, I switch on to the generator and go to something like 470 and see we see for that with that there. By the way, I have no instructions on how to align this thing, so I'm doing it all, you know, off the cuff as it were. So you know, again, you have to do it sometimes. You know, it's something which, well, you just have to do. Right. If you're going to tweak like this, always make sure you can put things back exactly as they are. Yeah? And tweak it a very, very short way and no further. And always keep your eyes out for anything that this is off or appears to be intruded with. Okay? Because people used to twiddle. sets in those days. And yes, this is there, you see, it's completely gone. Look at that, see? It's Ramadan, by the way, so that's probably what that is. It's probably a station for Ramadan only. So I know it's Ramadan, by the way, because Ramadan is shaped by the crease of the moon, and it looks at the moment like it's Ramadan. So I assume that is about new, anyways. That's why. I think actually I'll check the oscillator circuit on the office.
The road home.
The IF is there. Okay, so it's the generator is doing something. I don't know what, but it appears to be doing something. I don't know what, but it appears to be doing something. So at this point now, interesting that there's no crack or anything either. And that's the phone, so I'll be back with you in a second. Right, well, in these situations it does help an awful lot actually to have your signal generator connected up correctly and set up correctly. I was using the wrong scale. Again, it happens. But now, the way to check an IF, by the way, tells you how frequency. Okay, now, on the tuning or the wave change, you see, you shouldn't be able to tune out the IF with the tuning control or the wave change. Yeah? That's how you know it's IF. Yeah? Now, normally on sets of this kind, the IF on the FM is 10.7 megahertz. Not always, but in 99.9% of the cases, it's 10.7 megahertz. And on the medium wave AM side, it's 4.70, 465, around there. So just go look around there. and eventually you'll find it. So that's simple enough. Now this actually, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. It gets intermittent. Now intermittent faults, and it's not at IF by the way, because even when it fails, the IF is still working. So on both bands now here.
Boomers. It's the boomerangers who are the latest demographic group of note. Adult children returning to the parental home. We'll hear from both sides of that relationship and ask what's behind the trend. But we'll start with the BBC News, read today by Charles Carroll. Wales will be under a new 2-week lockdown from Friday evening to try to halt the rising.
Yeah, Wales, by the way, is going to be under a 2-week lockdown, just for information. So we know from that in the future when this video was filmed. But anyway, so what we're in this situation, what I normally do is keep using it and mucking about, and when it fails completely. Also what you can do is go on to set at the 500 meters or that end of the dial. There's usually something up there, because that's you as well, and basically
It was made with a heavy heart.
it's gone now, you see. It's gone. When it goes, should I touch the tuning cap on this? Okay, gone back in. So it's here. Okay, so I'll have a look at that and see if it's something as simple as dry joint.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Normally it is, but sometimes it can be something a bit more problematic. Also, wires attached to it can be dry jointed as well. So we get our soldering iron and basically melt the solder around it and the joints and see if that'll clear it. If it does, great. If it doesn't, well, yeah. Now, again, with all radios of this type, power supply, amplifier, audio, IF and RF is pair. We know what this problem is on the RF side, and we also know that it affects both bands. Yeah. If it affected both one band, I'll look up here. I will do anyway. But I think the problem with that is something like here. So I will just right. Okay. Let me try that.
Rugby internationals for Wales men then will go ahead. Football for Cardiff. Wales women have had to Norway. Scotland under
Yeah, okay, it's here. It's the tuning dial. You know, on these radios, quite often the tuning capacitor is one of these things here. I'll just put light on so you can see. There you are. It's this thing here. Yeah. On the valve set and some urgency it's bigger, but usually it's one of these. So basically, look with it. I notice also that it's yeah. So that might be a problem. That might be okay. Just check around it thoroughly and see if you can spot anything that is is or is not doing what it should be. Also the wave change switch as well, because believe me, wave change switches are the root of all evil. That's the lamp, by the way.
The number of people being taken to hospital with coronavirus symptoms is growing every day. Our critical care units are already full, and social care staff who have already done so much to work even harder. Unless we act, leisure businesses, community centres, libraries, recycling centres, churches shut, closed for normal service. Only weddings and funerals are permitted. Well, Mark Drakeford, the First Minister, has said the time-limited fire break will be
Right, now, look at this situation here. What Sam will do now is they'll take the radio out of the case and look at the back of the board, because the back might be dry joints there. Now, these sort of problems, it can be interesting to sort out in an uninteresting way. But as always, with that manual here, you see, we've gone and we've sorted out one problem with it on the speaker side, and also we've got the problem down to this straight away. Capacitors, generally speaking, they don't touch the radio up completely, but they will make it do some funny things. One or two do, but on the RC, generally they don't. Quite often, there's capacitors to the speaker, that's these here, but these again, if they're okay, leave them alone. If they're not, change them, but I think they're okay on this, so there you go. So now we now take this radio apart, look inside, and find out exactly where the problem is, and see if we can sort it. Also, by the way, with things like this, just undo the screws part of the way and see what moves and what doesn't. Yeah, because the whole thing is going to have to come out here. And so anything which simply holds the screws to the other bits which come out don't need to come out, and might be more trouble if they do. So again, there, make sure that they don't. Okay. So okay, so for the manual, of course, you'd know which one to take out, but in this situation we don't, and I'm not getting a manual because I want to show you what we can do, what you can do, what you can fix if manuals aren't available, because sometimes, as I said, they're not. It probably is a manual for it somewhere, but is it worth going all out getting a manual for something which we can probably sort without? Because a lot of manuals on the net now, even just for stuff that's 40 years old like this thing is, you know, they charge for them. And I think that's stupid, you know. I mean, this stuff, when it was new, the manuals came to service centres for free in most cases, but, you know, well, why they insist on charging for that now? I don't, by the way. Anything like that I have, manuals wise, if anybody wants, they can have. There's no problem there at all. Just get in touch and if I've got a manual, you can have it, or a copy thereof. There's no point, you know, because manuals, if you got a set, you've got to fix it, you need a manual, you know, then for me, you know, they need it, therefore they should have it, and that is really the end of the matter. Right, it's coming out now, see? So now, out it comes, slowly, by the way, always slowly, make sure nothing else can come loose, because if it can, it will. What's this one here? That comes off there, okay. Just this here. Okay, fine, right, there we go. And now we see immediately there's something else interesting, because the tuning cap is behind this. Now at this point most of you would give up, but what you can do, you can look underneath and look at all the joints through the tuning knob, and any that are interesting in a non-interesting sort of way, normally we can do something with. That one is a bit interesting there, isn't it? Okay, yeah, and that one. And look further down and see that one there looks as though got's got a bit dry, doesn't it? So we'll go and so we say wet that one a little bit with my solder. Oh, it's here. Okay. I need new iron, you know. I've got one coming actually, a one-handed iron which feeds the solder through at the same time, which, as people know me well, will tell you, I do have a problem with soldering in that way because of my my disabilities, so that's something else which I have to deal with. But anyway, now that is like that, I've gone through that. If it's just the tuning cap itself that's faulty, I'm afraid it ain't going to get a new one, for two reasons. The main one being that I haven't got one. And so, but what I will do in that case is use it on VHF only. So that's something else you can do. If the set is only working on one or two bands. Okay, so that goes in like that and like that. And so at this point now, this ain't will probably not work all together, but that's the way it is with these things, you know. I've noticed, by the way, I've not once had a meter up in this. Have you noticed that? Not once. I've not needed it. You can find things out like this without. And by the way, as far as valves or transistors are concerned, also those famous Roberts modules, which, you know, we have to talk about at some stage.
But strict lockdown for 3 or 4 weeks. And the problem that we had with the proposal that was put to us today was that we didn't feel it had been thought through properly. For example, we asked for some... This is a rather interesting thing. We can't... And what would happen after the 4 weeks if it didn't work? Would we have that strategy or would we proceed regardless? They said they hadn't contemplated that. We asked, is it credible to keep the schools open for those 4 weeks during a strict lockdown? They thought it was. We weren't so sure. Then what do we say to the 400,000 people who lose their jobs tomorrow and all those businesses? We need to plan for this type of thing. We need to know what to do at the pub. We need to tell the Department of Social Welfare staff.
That, by the way, is the Irish radio 2 on long wave.
That's a political matter for us.
You start getting into the work of drafting legal text.
That's radio 4. And turn down a bit. No.
Sound radio.
I wear a face covering to protect my mates. Over the data, there seems to be an acceptance on all sides that the figures in Greater Manchester are not great, but then there's a disagreement about just how bad they are looking, just what the projections suggest, and of course, whether the suggestions from the government as far as the impositions of Tier 3 are concerned are worth doing.
Just as an indication, Chris, and I appreciate you didn't hear the interview, of how far apart the sides would seem at the moment, or certainly levels of clarity and communication. He, again, the Mayor, Alan Brett, the Mayor of Rochdale, thought that at 4:30, when we said we were going to hear Matt Hancock in the Commons, he felt there was a chance that was the point. Matt Hancock was going to say, you will be in Tier 3. He thought they were going to be forced in. Is there any indication Boris Johnson might come good on that threat at any time soon? Is that the threat on the table to Greater?
That threat is still on the table and has been since Friday afternoon when Boris Johnson did that news conference. But certainly today, listening to Matt Hancock in the Commons.
Yeah. So obviously the problem is with this tuning capacity here. What I've got here now, by the way, is a radio which works most of the time. It does need a new tuning cap, but I haven't got one, so it's not everyone. If it doesn't, not having one. If it doesn't work, then a slap on the back makes it work, so they can live with that for now. If I get one, of course, I will fish it, but we haven't as yet, so I can't. The aerial, by the way, what I've done with the top end is I've put a drawing pin in, so it can still go up and down like before. Looks okay. And now, of course, we'll go at it with the magic spray and make it look a whole lot better than it was previously. You know, 2 more tricks, by the way, at this point that I must pass in your direction on sets like this, by the way. I've looked on the internet for this set, by the way, the Alba 775, and I didn't come across a circuit diagram for it, so we are on our own with it. If you want to measure the current, put the batteries in or use the socket and put your meter on amps in between the battery, positive or negative, and the battery. Switch to amps. The meter will then at that point not have any resistance, and it should show you what it should be. Got manuals at hand, which we haven't in this case, then we should be able to see any fault judging by that. That's one trick. Another trick, by the way, that we can think about doing, which is equally interesting to do, is if you get a set like this and it's drawing current, it's a piece of working but there's no audio coming out. First of all, listen very close to the speaker, speak against it and see if you hear anything. If you can't, then do the wet finger test on the volume control. It's perfectly the same with the battery set and with the main set, but you know, I understand where people don't. And just see if you get a buzzing noise in the speaker. If you do, then the output stages are doing something. If you don't, then go forward towards the speaker. If you do, then back towards the diode, the switches, things like that, the wave change switch and backwards. Again, that's something else which we need to know. Also, if you've got a steam generator, you can try putting another buzzing that and see if it comes out on the frequency. Or if you've got another radio to hand, like this one here, for example, put that radio on. I'll do like that, you see. And listen,
the goalkeeper. I think Ticknell was just screaming and shouting because he wanted them to raise the tempo.
listen for that. Listen for that. Listen for that. Low cost later.
If you've gone to sleep a little bit,
another
raise the
radio.
tempo, wake back up. Yeah, absolutely.
Can't always get it, but it's a good thing to try.
Even more open if they could.
It should be 450 or 60 kilohertz below or above what the dial is set at. This one works, but
Chelsea nil, Sevilla nil. Manchester.
that way it's not bigger. But something you can do is listen for the low cost later on another radio. It works in most cases. This is together, so it might well not. But
The colour passing the third. Using a bit of.
there it is. Okay, it's there. So we know from that the oscillator is running. The oscillator, by the way, runs at either 450, 450 kilohertz on AM, below or above the frequency of the station you're receiving. So, for example, if we switch it to Absolute Radio or Virgin or whatever it's called this week, then that is at 1215 kilohertz. And so 1215 plus or minus, in this case, I think it's 450, and you pick up the oscillator on another radio. It's 10.7 on VHF, by the way. Now, distortion on a set like this, if you've not got a manual, usually capacitors, and the one in particular on many sets, transformer sets, between output transistor and the speaker, which goes out on circuit. But capacitors will rarely, apart from that case, short it set up completely. So what you do in those cases, if you get a capacitor, say 10, 20 kilohertz, 47 kilohertz, it doesn't matter, and put it across all the caps on the back of the board, electricities in particular, and see which one brings the set to life. That's something else you can do. Also, look at the board for damaged traces, cover it with your fingers, things like that. These are things which you can all do without a manual. That's what we're doing here, is looking at a set and trying to get it working without a manual, which is perfectly possible. You don't, in a lot of cases, need to have a manual. it's nice to have one, but you know, it's not always essential, and in some sets, such as this one, it's not available to do it, so you know, you can't, simple as that. But not having manual does not mean you can't have a working radio. Again, it's practice, this, you know, more than anything else. Another thing you can do, by the way, is get one of those earpieces, those crystal earpieces, and go between Earth and various parts of the circuit and see what you can hear. Those signal tracing do the same sort of things. That's another thing you can try. These are all things you can do before reaching the manual if you need to. Okay. Also, don't forget, if the batteries in the set are going down, that can cause distortion as well. So that's something else which you need to think about, because that does happen quite a lot with many radios. That's something else. But this set, by the way, yeah, I did it. I've got this far with it, including that, completely without a manual. Completely without a manual. Just I'm doing now is cleaning it up a bit, but you know, you now have a set which you can use either in the garage, in the kitchen, on the beach, listening to an Alba record like in the summer of 1975, 76, you know. But any radio is useful, and always good to having a go about it, in case something happens, because the internet might go down, God forbid, but a radio, generally speaking, well, particularly on AM, so you can find out what's going on if need be. Particularly if like some people in the vintage radio community living in an earthquake country, that's very important. It really is. So anyway, this set, by the way, is made in Japan. It's an Alba. It's an Alba 775. Now, I've given it up the best I can. Now, I've not got the knobs for it yet. I'll see what I've got for them. But as it is, it's a very sensitive set as well, by the way.
So now, are you turning it down? But it's all good. They're listening to the More Music Breakfast Show. That's what I got.
So that's an all band, it's working there quite happily. Now this set, made in Japan, 72 to 77 these were made apparently. Alba were a reasonable make in those days. You know, they're not now. The Alba stuff now actually is, for want of a better word, crap. You know, but then it was, they were good stuff. Alba, by the way, is the Old English for Scotland, and Albion was for England. But Alba was started by A.J. Belscombe in the 1920s, and well, actually, there are people out there who collect Alba stuff, because there's quite interesting designs out there. This isn't one of them, but every radio, I think, deserves the chance to work if it can.
0% APR.
Every radio, including this. And this one is now back to rude health, as it were. So I'll find it some valves, just saying. I'll find it some knobs, and we'll link from there. I'll see what I've got. Just a second with that one. There we are. There's a couple on there now. They're not quite right. I won't get some better ones. Actually, I know where the originals are for this. Actually, they're on Unit NCB, the Andy was repairing, so I might go and nick them back. But for now, that's actually is the same message state at point away from us. So that proves that the set is in fact quite sensitive. But that's the football, by the way. Anyway, so else, by the way, with sets like this that build a manual for. Transistors, like I said earlier, they can be either germanium and older sets, or in more sets of this era, silicon. If the transistor should have 3 voltages on it, of course, and with the germanium transistor, voltage between base and emitter is 0.1, 0.2 volts. Silicon is 0.7. Okay, that's something to look out for. And also check that the transistor has voltage on it and they are okay. If they're all high, then it's like short circuited or something below it is gone, as it were. If they're all low, then it's short circuit or not getting enough voltage. That's something else you can look for. That's it really. But without manual, you know, yeah, a disadvantage, but never a complete one. Anyway, this radio is now ready to go back to being used, and when summer comes around next year, I'll be on the beach, of course, but by my windbreak listening to Gold Station. But until then, goodbye from Steve Longstay Workshop. Hope you enjoyed this quick lesson, and I'll speak to you soon. I promise you I will. Until then, bye bye, and keep fixing radios. Bye bye.
Shot takes deflection off the back of a Manchester United body, spirals into the air and goes out for a corner.